Hi Aquarius, welcome to your mid-teen The Harsh Truth reading where we take a look at a love situation. This is intended for romantic love situations. Could resonate otherwise. We take a look at a love situation that you might need fresh eyes or that clarity on, or just confirmation of what you've been suspecting or knowing without wanting to admit, that sort of thing. This is a general reading. It does get specific. Take what resonates, leave the rest. Check your moon, rising, and Venus if you want a more well-rounded reading. There's other channels. I do get specific, so it'll start off resonating possibly, and then maybe it'll stop because of the clarification. And I can't remember what else. Oh, I do shuffle off camera, and then I just do the preliminary shuffling on camera because it messes with the cloth and the sound. Credit for the spread is in the description box, I hope. Did I put it in the description box? Oh gosh, now it's gonna bug me. Yes, I did. Okay, good. That would bother me if I didn't. Six of Wands reversed. This is the energy between you and your love interest. This could be you're feeling like either you did something that you might be ashamed of, or just that was sneaky, or that you know your friends wouldn't approve, or you're feeling like they did something. They're not being truthful, they're lying, they're doing something shady. Could be what you're thinking about them. And we have another sneaky thief cheater card here. This could also be feeling like you're not on the same page with the person, okay? So we have, all right. We've got Seven of Swords there. That's typically the liar, cheater, thief card. And this is in the position of what you want to be true. So maybe you're wanting to steal some time away for yourself. You don't want to be unhappy. You don't want it to be that this is not going to turn out to be the way you wanted it to be. And what is true is that the situation is that the person you are thinking about could be somebody that is emotionally volatile. It could be somebody that can work but won't, or doesn't, or simply can't marshal the resources that they have to find that job, to be productive about life, to be dynamic, or to be that go-getter, to self-start, to self-initiate. It could be that they're waiting for other people to do everything for them. In that case, we could be talking about somebody that has mental health challenges that prevent them from kind of adulting or being able to take care of their own life. Or it could be somebody is very manipulative and tyrannical and expects everybody else to do everything for them. Controlled, emotionally volatile, verbally abusive, that sort of thing. This is the reality or the truth of this situation. You want somebody to. These two can be very similar. These two are almost identical, but this right here, this is the good side of the Magician. I mean, they could be one and the same, right? These two, or the King of Wands and the Magician. But these upright, they embody a lot of the same qualities. So you're kind of hoping for that dynamic, sort of really powerful person that you think that this person is, but without the abuse. You really like the authority, you really like the truth component, the trustworthiness, the intensity, the steadfastness, the conviction, the indisputable authority on something. You just want it without the malice and the control and the volatility. You want somebody to be honest with you, tell you the truth. Maybe you're thinking of, this could also be like, okay, I want to cut somebody off or cut things off. Maybe that's what that is. You don't want there to be secrets. You don't want to feel like you can't trust them. You don't want to have to be alone or isolated about this. Maybe you're feeling that isolation, feeling cut off already. And sorry to be the bearer of bad news here, but it just, at best, any promises that are made are just going to continue down the same path. They're not going to be followed through on. It's going to be all talk, no action, undelivered promises, haste. Somebody that just up and walks, instead of watching and waiting and seeing, they just up and walk. There's no communication. They just cut it off. Okay, so if that's you doing that, then yay, because this doesn't sound like a very good person that you're with. Okay, I'm just saying. All right. Okay, let's see what this is right here. So, yeah, we've got, all right. In case I didn't say it before, this is, for Aquarius. Hello, Aquarius. I think I greeted you in the beginning. I'm pretty darn sure I did. But anyway, the reason why I say that is because like, ooh, this feels very swordsy, this reading, when I see these 3 swords or 4 swords. You poor thing. Because this is about you really wanting to be free. You don't want that communication. You might be confused, but it's not worth going back and talking to him and have that conversation. You don't want anything to do with it. You got out and you want to stay out and you don't want to go back. You don't want... Okay, so that's what you want to be true. That's what it is. That you were able to get out. That's what it is. You don't want... What you don't want is that this... You don't want to feel like this has broken you to where you're never going to be happy again. You're not happy now. You don't want it to be that you're afraid to take risks, that you're afraid to get back to who you were and who you are, which is a really dynamic person. Very capable, very can do all things. It's like a Jackie of all trades, a can-do Kathy or can-do Cameron. This could be a man or woman, but the energy is somebody that's very dynamic, very inclusive, exuberant, warm, vivacious, always up for that, get together or that family and then we'll cook for it. Runs a business, very good at their job, just very capable, upbeat, optimistic human being. And you don't want to lose that part of yourself. See that? At the very least, this could be somebody that has a lot of talent and ability, but cannot seem to find a job or make things go in the right direction. It's like they've got all this raw ability, but they just can't seem to marshal the resources to get it off the ground. Okay, and wild card here, it could be they have a great idea and they need friends to help them financially or otherwise get it off the ground. Okay, but they just haven't been able to yet, and they're kind of playing things close to the vest. However, if we're talking about what I think we're talking about, I think this is somebody who is very secretive and who has a hidden agenda. I think there's a lot of... I know that typically this reversed is about a hidden agenda, but I think this person uses secrets. I think they trade on secrets. I think they're withholding. I think that this could be also somebody that gets things done with the manipulation or help of other people. I think this is probably very dynamic person that, has that silver tongue, very powerfully persuasive and whatnot, and either people respect them or fear them depending on how well they know that person. And this could be man or woman. It's just, there's always an agenda and a motive, and they thrive on the attention and accolades from other, and also at the same time they see them as doing their bidding, or they're just a cog in a wheel for them. The reality of it. This could be multiple affairs, multiple things that you don't know about that are kept from you. Yeah, you want that severing. You want that happiness back. You want to feel like you're on top of your game again. This could be man or woman. You want the severing of ties. You want to be back to that decisive, clear thinking, authoritative, just confidence that you had, and just feeling like the wheels are turning again and things are moving and you're not being kind of bogged down by this person. You want to be happy again. I think in particular for you, it really bothers you, but this in particular, this secrecy keeps coming up, and I think that's a real issue for you because you probably put so much into the relationship and you're a very good partner. You don't like being screwed over. I mean, who does? But especially for you, for some reason, that's very poignant to you. And what you don't want to happen is to feel disappointed because they're cheating and there's secrecy involved in that. And part of me feels like you know that. It's a hunch. You don't want it to be true because it would lead to, loss and just disappointment and sadness and despair. And, I think this is a bit more than crying over spilt milk. I don't think it's just should be reduced to that. This is got a third-party situation here. I hope this isn't that you feel like you can't leave, but it looks like you did get it. You want to feel like you got away clean and free, that you broke free. Okay, so I think this is a split, probably marriage or something where maybe you're going to have to go through the courts to get it. Maybe not. Maybe this is just that you feel like, justice has to be done here. I want to know that I made the right decision in cutting off everything. I think that's what it is. I cutting off everything. I don't want to deal with. We got lots of swords here. Made the right decision, or you're going to make the right decisions. Again, there could be courts involved, or they might have to assist. I don't know, though. I think this is more about you wanting to know or feel like you made the right decision and basically cutting off all communication and going no contact. And there's a cat. It just worries me because, I'd rather you have the baggage than feel like you can't move on. Maybe you're feeling like you're stuck and you can't, and the courts do have to get involved, but you're still not going to communicate with them. You're still not going to let that deter you from... It's not like, okay, well, it's just so hard and the courts are taking forever that makes you have a moment of weakness where you think that you might be able to work it out with this person, but I don't think so. I think this is about maybe having doubts, like, did I do the right thing? But even still, you're keeping your distance and staying away. You might have doubts. Maybe you didn't. Maybe the court needs to get involved and help. This could be a Libra coming. This could be Gemini, Leo. This could be Pisces or Cancer or Scorpio. But I think this is the fallout of being with somebody like that. I think, there's no communication, there's no talking, there's boom. And yet, you either hope you did the right thing or you did the right thing, and yet it's still hard to move on because it was an intense relationship, and the fallout is always going to be pretty. With somebody like this, it's like leave a wide berth because they're just toxic. I'm glad you got out. Feels like you're feeling like, will I get groove back? Will I get back to who I was? And the answer is absolutely yes. Absolutely. This takes time. Slow down. When you are excited, you get ahead of yourself. Take some time to allow things to unfold. When I mentioned that this might involve the courts, it could be that you were like out and done and you're like, okay, I want this over now. I want if the courts are involved, right? And it's like the courts never are that easy. It's always going to take time. So it's like that last piece that you need closed off. You just have to wait for the courts so you can feel like you can finally move on. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's a legal decision holding you up to feel like you can't move on. For those of you that the courts aren't involved, that it's not about that. This is about being patient with yourself as you grieve and as you let go of these beliefs or however they were, they made you feel a certain way. It's going to take time to detox and debrief from that and to figure out, wait a minute, that's not true. Because at some point when you're with somebody like that, you start going along just to get along because it's not worth the knife fight, And this is about, it's almost like you wanting things to be over and healed and to move on and to let go of everything and just move on. And there's always a fallout. So you just have to be patient and allow yourself to work through that. This is about our beliefs and how they could possibly restrict us, like blind faith, When I was reading about it was really interesting because it said, religion as the one that has done wrong by and to man, and yet the common denominator is humanity and religion. Like it was kind of this really interesting way it explained it, but this is about blind faith and about how a lot of times we do things because we believe in it so strongly, or we believe others that we're blind to all that's going on around us. So I think with all this swords energy here, it's about trust what you know, not what you're being told. Be very clear-headed. Make sure you get all the information you need and to know what you know, and especially if it's coming from that other person, fact check your information, clarify and just make sure that you have as much information that you can that you've investigated yourself, that you don't have to trust or rely on somebody else, particularly this person, because I don't think they're very trustworthy. Could be that also too when you met them you were so in awe and blinded by them, and they came across as such an authority that you were like, yeah, okay, they were just easily believable, and then that's how you get caught up, right? And then all of a sudden you wake up and realize, wait a minute, this person doesn't have best interest at heart, and then you're already kind of stuck and trapped there. Like maybe you've given away things or sold your place, and now you're in their place and you have nowhere to go, but you're trapped, and Oops. Hidden blessings. Okay, so that speaks to not knowing. It's almost like anything's got to be better than this, you know. And it's not about around the corner you're going to be a lottery winner. It's more like you never know what you precluded, how much worse it could have gotten, how much, you know, you just never know. Things could always be better, they could always be worse. And it's, you had to go through this to know that you would never go back to it, I guess. To know that your future is solid, that you can take care of yourself, that you don't need that person, that there is something better for you out there. It's like the only way to go is up. When you're going through hell, best to keep moving at a quick pace. There is going to be something that comes out of this. It's just, hold on a minute, let me see if I can clarify that. But there's always a silver lining, especially if you were the impetus for leaving. If you made the decision to leave, it may not seem like it now, but you're going to look back on that and be like, I wasn't forced out, I left. And I might have fled at the time, but I did what I had to do, and I did right by myself. Well, for starters, it's going to be an end to the unhappiness and the confusion. And you might have just, you know, it's amazing when you feel hopeless about life, like all of a sudden, how when you kind of clean up your life or kind of shore things up, this renewal of faith and just passion for the future and this self-sufficiency that happens. And I think it might not seem a lot like right now, but I think that's where it's going to start. Whatever's going to happen is going to start from coming to this place where you're not blaming yourself anymore. You're not upset. You're not scared. You're not angry. You're just, all of a sudden things are going to start to make sense and click into place. And it's going to start from you not being confused or sad or unhappy anymore. And then from there, things are going to take off. I don't know what, but it's going to be surprising. You're not going to be expecting it. All right. I'm going to stop there because I could keep going with this one. I don't want you to feel badly. It's important to know that you did do the right thing by getting out, and you should have gotten out, and you did get out, and that is a good place to be. Okay, so Aquarius, I hope this was helpful, and I hope that you got something out of it. I hope to see you at the next reading. Thank you for stopping by. Take care.